I'm starting the recording now. All right. Okay, so is my screen shared, Kyle?
Yeah, it's not on present. Okay, yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Good now? Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone once again for attending our Unified Leadership Conference. We're kicking off our session tonight. And before we begin all of our sessions at Special Olympics Ontario, we begin with a land acknowledgement. So please follow along on your screens as we go through our land acknowledgement. So we begin by acknowledging that although we're meeting virtually, we are all on land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples for thousands of years. In particular, we acknowledge that the Special Olympics Ontario office is located on the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and most recently the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations. This land is governed by the Dish with One Spoon Covenant between the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and the Confederacy of Ojibwe and Allied Nations. The covenant is an agreement to share, work, and protect this land in harmony. Today, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to work, live, and play on this land. Further to our land acknowledgement, Special Olympics Ontario has done a lot of work to compile land acknowledgement resources, which can be found on our website. And if you would like to use those resources, you are free to do so, and we will be happy to direct you to those resources that are specific to your area of the province. Feel free to reach out to anyone to get in contact with that. All right. Am I back? I'm good?
Yep.
All right. So welcome once again to our Unified Leadership Conference. We're kicking off with our opening session tonight. We have a great attendance here tonight. We're really, really excited to be doing this. We noticed that we, over the past few months of the pandemic, our unified program numbers have not been as strong as they have been in the past. This is due mainly to the fact that most classes have been more segregated than they have been in the past. So for those of you who are new to Unified Sport is the playing of sport with athletes with and without intellectual disabilities together on the same playing field. And at Special Olympics Ontario and our school programs, we have been championing this program for many, many years and have had great success across the province in running these programs. So one of our objectives over this conference is to spread awareness to all the different schools around the province and reinvigorate that as we move into the new year. Another objective along the same lines as that is that we are rolling out in the new year our Unified Champion Schools program, and we're going to talk about that tonight, as well as go into how our athlete leadership program will play a big role in that new program as well. So our speakers tonight are Callum Stevenson. So he has been the brain behind the development of our Unified Champion Schools program in Ontario, and he has a short presentation to introduce you to that program and what that's going to look like in 2022. And then Ryan Colpitz, who oversees our athlete leadership program and is the Special Olympics athlete himself, will be going on to talk about his athlete leadership program and how that can be implemented in schools, both virtually and in person. And with that, I'll turn it over to Callum, and he has the floor.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Chris. Okay, I'll just share my screen here. Okay, is that looking okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, awesome. All right. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. So like Chris said, my name is Callum and I'm just going to be giving you guys a bit of a rundown on what the Unified Champion Schools program is going to look like. And we're hoping to launch that early in the new year and hoping to get all of you guys on board for that. So for what this program is, it's a recognition program that we're looking to implement into the high schools with a focus on increasing accessibility, inclusivity, and integration within your schools. And we're doing this we have a specialized program that we're developing for elementary, secondary, and post-secondary levels. But for tonight, I'm just going to be focusing on the secondary program. So what we're focusing on is 4 different directions with it. So one of the main ones is going to be sport and recreation, and that'll be looking at the unified aspect through those actual sporting events, but also looking at social sustainability on how to keep your program as a long-standing thing within your school, as well as an advocacy and awareness component. So how do you become a unified champion? So you'll be completing tasks within each of those 4 categories that I looked at. And every time you reach a different milestone, we have different kind of recognition levels and incentives. And one requirement that we'll be having is that you have to complete at least one of the tasks in each of those to be considered a unified champion. And in regards to what those incentives are going to look like, so for a unified member, you'll be getting recognition on the website, and that'll go throughout all 4 levels. And then you would add in a different bronze, silver, or gold banner that we would be sending to you guys at your school. And that would be an annual renewal that we would be changing your levels each year after you kind of resubmit what you've accomplished throughout that school year. And then as you move up, as you can see, we've got a prize pack that your school would get. And then for our gold members, we would be doing some sort of lottery system for a chance to have your registration fees waived for your school champs for your school that year. So what we look at for this within the secondary school level would be something that is run and kind of overseen by you guys as educators, kind of in a club setting, but promoting a lot of student engagement and student empowerment, where they're helping to take the lead on a lot of these initiatives with you guys kind of overseeing it. So moving in, so for the sport and recreation level, some of the milestones that we'd be looking for you guys to accomplish would be having a unified team participate at your local qualifier, having a unified team in at least more than one of your sports seasons throughout the school year, implementing the UPE program as well, hosting school champs, or having at least one of your coaches complete our unified coach training. And then moving in to the social aspect, we'd be looking at you guys running some sort of non-related social event, either after hours or at lunch or something like movie night or a game night, or some examples that we've given you guys, but this is really open to whatever you think you can accomplish at your school. So something like that, and then having that unified club would already be something that would be in your school if you're trying to run this program, but that would get you another point. Something along the lines of attending either a varsity or intramural game at your school with your unified members, having some sort of field trip, or running an academic related event either at lunch or after school, where you have your unified partners helping out with your SO athletes with some of their schoolwork. In the advocacy component, and this is something that we're going to dive a bit more into, I believe it's tomorrow's session with Vienna from Motion Ball, but the No Good Way campaign, a short little spiel on it if you haven't heard. It's a campaign to end the use of the R word in schools and focus on inclusive language in general, but a lot of this aspect is what we're focusing on for the advocacy and awareness aspect. So as you can see, for objectives like 2, 3, and 4, those are all centered around the 3 pillars of the No Good Way campaign, and I'll leave that kind of up to Vienna to take over tomorrow. But along with that, having once we're hopefully back in person, sending a student, an athlete, and a unified partner to our youth summit that we run every year, as well as trying to recognize your members at a school assembly or a pep rally or something of that nature would be your milestones for the advocacy and awareness. And then our last section would be the sustainability. So how to keep this program long-standing within your school, and that's focused on things like fundraisers, running the torch run with your local law enforcement if you're able to do that, and connecting with your SOO community council, as well as having some sort of plan in place for keeping this program running with the overturn of educators and students on your committee or club, or members in that sense as well. So what you would be doing, so out of all of those, basically what we're envisioning is an online submission system throughout the course of the year where you can upload almost like a checklist of what you're accomplishing throughout the year. And then based on that, at the end of the year, we'll evaluate how many of those items you got, and then we'll coordinate the recognition level and the incentives and things like that. So hitting 0 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, or 13 or more will get you into the gold section. And then something that we wanted to introduce just to increase some social media engagement would be if you were posting some of these events online on either your school's website or a newsletter or some of your social media accounts or things like that, you would be awarded an extra point as well. But yeah, so that's kind of the quick rundown on what we're doing for that. And if anyone has any questions that they think of later after this presentation, you can shoot me an email at calms@specialolympicsontario.com. But for now, I'll open the floor if any of you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns. Okay. And if there are none, that is also okay.
Thanks for that, Callum. So if there are any questions, feel free to come off mute and ask them directly to us at any point in the presentations or any point in the sessions. We want this to be interactive as much as possible. So I guess I'll just elaborate a little bit on what Callum said. He did a great job of overviewing it, but we really want to be to a lot of our schools that have been doing unified or even traditional programming in the past to jump on this and look at the information when we do send it out and really recognize that you're already doing most of these things and see where you can tick off additional boxes. Amanda, I notice you have your hand up.
Hi, sorry, you might have already said this, but
Nope.
Is this presentation being sent out? Because I want to show my staff, I'm just here on behalf of my staff, I want to show them those things that we have to work towards.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're recording the session right now, and we can also send out a PDF version of the PowerPoint slide deck as well.
Yeah, I just basically want, yeah, those slides with the points and what we have to work towards.
Yes.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was just gonna say that yeah, and we're also preparing, like once we do launch it, we'll have like rubrics and like flyers and like one-page handouts that we'll be sending out to everyone that you guys can have at your disposal throughout the year to look at what you also have to accomplish.
Awesome, thank you.
No problem.
And so Callum also did mention that in our next session, which is Wednesday night at 7, we're having Vienna from Motion Ball. She is she's presenting on the No Good Way campaign, and she's going to go into in depth on that pillar of the program and how you can partner with Motion Ball to run that campaign for their advocacy and awareness component. Great. If there are no more questions, I'm going to turn it over now to Ryan, who is overseeing our athlete leadership program at Special Olympics Ontario and is also, as I mentioned, a Special Olympics athlete himself. And Ryan, are you ready to take it away?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So yeah, good evening, everyone. It's nice to be able to kind of do this again, and hopefully we'll be in school soon. I just wanted to kind of, for those that don't know who I am, just wanted to kind of share a bit of a background. So obviously I work with Special Olympics running our athlete leadership programs. But as Chris mentioned, I'm also a Special Olympics athlete. I've been an athlete since 2006, playing baseball and basketball. Been to a few provincial games, a few national games as well. And I've been big into sports kind of throughout my life. Believe it or not, I was the quiet kid in high school and really have blossomed since then, if you will, into going through school and now getting to work with SOO doing athlete leadership. And it's really cool because I get the privilege of teaching students how to be athletes in their own right, both on and off the playing field when it comes to in school and competing in sport. And so I'm going to share my screen in a second, but what I really want to just really headline tonight is our athlete leadership programs when it comes to school-based programs. We started this a few years ago where I really wanted to make sure that other kids, just like me, were able to really use their athlete leadership experiences that they may not know they already had, but they do have. And really use that again on and off the playing field, whether it's doing fundraisers in school or just succeeding in life, really. And that's where we created the athlete leadership component for high school based students as well. During our athlete leadership segments, we usually, in a non-COVID time, have a class of traditional athletes, so students that have an intellectual disability, paired with a class like a leadership class to really help support one another and then work together on a project throughout the school year, depending on when we get into your school and present it. But usually we get the two classes to work together and do a fundraiser, do something for prom, do something for the athletic council, whatever it may be. We just really give them a task to really use their skills of what they learn in the program and use them firsthand together. So with that, I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. Just really highlight and showcase what we go over. So we do an intro to athlete leadership, which allows the students to really understand what leadership is and how their persona and how they can take on athlete leadership applies to them and to their peer classmates and their fellow peers. On top of the intro to athlete leadership, we work with you as well to find out which of the one of the two or both, if we have time, work best with your class. So we run a social media training that goes along with it. We also do a health training or a photo and video training as a component. We want to make sure that these three are going to be the most useful in schools. In community settings, we have a ton of different workshops that are both online and also taught virtually right now, plus they will be taught in person. But we want to make sure that we highlighted what we found best from the first couple of years of running this to what the students really picked up on the most, which came down to social media and photo and video. Because as we both know, or as we all know rather, all students are really online, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, etc. And we want to make sure that the students are using their skills as an athlete leader online and also staying safe online in that same process. So we teach the students about how to use social media as an athlete leader, how to do photo and videos like interviews and things like that, and really skills and traits that they'll use throughout school and afterwards. We also can provide a health messenger training course, which just teaches them about health and healthy lifestyles. And we talk about both physical and mental health, as they're both very important and complement one another. Again, we created this program for the high school level because I wanted to make sure that students had an opportunity to run their leadership skills or use their leadership skills that they may not know they have. And really, just from my own experiences, kind of burst out of their shy shell that they might be in right now and really focus on how to really be a leader on the playing field as well. And then, as you guys all know, we have our school championship programs and our youth conferences and that sort of thing. So we want to make sure that we give the opportunity to these students, leaders, to be able to attend those workshops or those events and really put together what they've learned from the classroom from these workshops, and again, use them with support as well. So yeah, that's a really quick elevator pitch. The elevator was broken for about 5 minutes, but we just wanted to kind of go over and share about what the athlete leadership program was in schools and how you guys can be involved. So if anyone is involved in getting their students into a workshop like this, again, right now we are doing them all virtually. They're morning or afternoon time frame, and then hopefully we can run them back in schools in the future. But if you guys do have or do want to take part in this, probably looking in the new year right now, then just shoot me an email, just ryanc@specialolympicsontario.com, just to give you some statistical numbers. Because being a sports guy, it's all about numbers, right? So we've had so far over the past 3 or 4 years, we've had about 170 athletes trained across Ontario with about 83 mentors. So that's the unified partners working together in over 20 schools. So this program has been around for a little bit, and we want to make sure that we really focus and bring this to light a little bit more so we can continue to grow those numbers each and every school year. So with that, I'll leave it open to the floor for any questions. Or if you guys don't have any right now, feel free to shoot me an email and I'd be more than happy to chat with you guys. So no questions. So Chris, back to you.
Thanks, Ryan. Wonderful job. So as you can see, Ryan's athlete leadership program is very in-depth and comprehensive and offers also 3 different pillars of programming. And we are very, very happy to offer that for you in your classrooms, both virtually and then hopefully, again, as Ryan mentioned, back in person when we start moving back into those in-person programs. So it's programs like this that you're going to be seeing encompassed as a part of this Unified Champion Schools program. So all of the programs that we have offered, plus many new ones that we'll be going into in the coming sessions, are going to be under this umbrella of the Unified Champion School. So this is an attempt for us to put an umbrella over all the things that we're offering in school and tying it all together. Because if you have been around and there are some familiar names on the attendance list tonight and in the registration, you all know how enriching the unified programs are that we have as part of our school programs, and we're really looking forward to getting back to that soon and using this program of Unified Champion Schools as well as all the programs underneath it. We're really hoping to launch that out of a cannon back to it. So thank you all for your time this evening. That's going to wrap up our opening session. So again, our next session is scheduled for Wednesday, November 24th at 7 p.m. And we're going into our No Good Way campaign that is hosted by our friend Vienna, who is a motion ball volunteer, who is also championing this advocacy and awareness campaign and has made it compatible for schools. So that will be of definitely a lot of interest for everyone here. So thank you again for your attention and coming this evening. We appreciate it. We'll see you on Wednesday. I'm going to end the recording now. So if anyone has any questions they didn't want to ask while being recorded, happy to answer those now.